Microsoft's Xbox One S All Digital Edition is finally starting to show a little bit of sign of life. What's up, everybody? Brad here, back again. And so, when Microsoft announced the Maverick console, and if you're not familiar with the name Maverick, that is the code name of the all digital edition of the Xbox One S, which I've been talking about since late last year. Anyways, beside the point here, when that console was launched, it came out with a $249.99 price tag.
The all-digital edition is the most affordable way to start playing Xbox One games, priced at $249.99. That's $50 less than the S with an optical drive. And yes, we expect to maintain at least a $50 difference between Xbox One S and the all-digital edition during sales.
And that kind of befuddled everybody, including myself, because I'd been hearing for a while that, hey, like $199 was the top end price point for this piece of hardware. And when it came out at $249.99, it was not a better value than this thing back here, which is an Xbox One S with the disk drive or the optical drive. Now, Microsoft tried to make the argument by including 3 games. You got Sea of Thieves, Forza Horizon 3, and Minecraft, that you were getting a better value. And maybe to some people you definitely are, but considering all those games are included for Game Pass, if you're already paying for Game Pass, the value is not there. Or depending on how you sign up for Game Pass, some people are getting a buck for more than a year if you kind of roll your current subscriptions over. There's multiple ways to get into that subscription service, but beside the point, the value was not there, and many of us, myself included, were expecting that console to be $199. And it came out of the gate with a loud, that's what's probably a proper way to describe it, a loud thud, if you will, or thud, or whatever, when it came out. I cannot use my my descriptive words correctly this morning. Beside the point there, when it came out, Microsoft had to immediately do damage control because everyone's like, why would you buy this? It makes no sense. And it is a classic Xbox One launch. It was not well communicated or understood, mostly because things like Project Roma did not materialize. The disc to digital program, I haven't heard if that thing has been completely canceled yet. I just know that retailers were not happy with it at all. And so that really kind of drove down the value proposition of having something like this. That being said, $249.99 did not make sense, and it was not wise to tell anyone about this, mostly because you could go on Amazon and find a traditional Xbox One S with a game, sometimes a better game like Battlefield or whatever, and it would be about the same price, in some cases even less. It never made sense until this week. This week, Microsoft had a deal on Amazon Prime, well, the Prime days. So what would be over $300, Microsoft was selling for $199. So what changed here? Microsoft started to include the Phantom White controller with the Xbox One All Digital Edition. So what you were getting was effectively one console, 2 controllers, and 3 games for $199. Now, that is a good value in my opinion, because a controller can range anywhere from, getting it on sale $40 to $70 depending on where and how you buy it. So right out the gate, for somebody who needs 2 controllers, that bundle at $199 is finally making sense, and consumers reacted positively. If you looked at the sales charts for devices and items during the Prime days, that bundle on the Xbox category was number 1, and it jumped up there really quick. I was watching this most of the day, and it percolated up and then just kind of like popped right at the top. So people were buying this in a sizable volume. Further, on the overall gaming category, it was actually outselling the Switch and the PlayStation while the bundle was available. Now, that bundle is no longer available. So if you didn't get your hands on it, and frankly, if you're not in the US, you didn't, you're out of luck. But I think there might be some good news on the horizon here. Because Microsoft made this bundle available on Prime days, I believe they were probably testing the waters, because they know sales data, and Microsoft had pretty lofty goals for the all digital edition to sell in the hundreds of thousands of units. Granted, at $249.99, that is not happening. They've got to find a way to either A, create more value, or lower that price point. And what they're doing here is, I think they were testing the waters by making that bundle available at $199, and they saw how quickly it was selling. I think that's going to be the tipping point for that console. What I think this means is that going into the holiday season, I bet we see that bundle or similar bundles return, because Microsoft now has the data, and doing it on a Prime day like that, granted, they're going to sell in volume, but not as high volume if, say, it was at Best Buy available 24/7. But now they know when customers are likely to jump into that all digital console, and that is the data that they needed. So I'm optimistically hopeful that Microsoft will now start making better bundles of the Xbox One All Digital Edition. I was tempted to name this video, was this device a flop? But then after kind of poking around a bit, I think Microsoft is, again, data mining using Prime Day to understand when consumers will buy the all digital versus the traditional Xbox One S console, and now they have that price point at $199. The question becomes when, where, and if we will see this bundle again. I think it'd be crazy for Microsoft not to offer this again. Hopefully that they will maybe mix up the games. I think that would be a way to increase the value even more. Maybe toss in some Halo titles, even if they're older, even if they're still in Game Pass. I think that's a big draw for a lot of people, is the Halo franchise, and that could be a solid way to refresh the bundle ahead of the holiday season. Now, the question becomes, will they do this? This is what we don't know. I have to think that they will do this. I have to think that that is going to be the bundles that they are going to be pushing. I already know that they are working on other bundles. I remember like that Fortnite bundle. I don't know if we're going to see another like fully purplish console, which, by the way, that purple console looks really good. I'm tempted to buy that one. But there are other holiday bundles on the agenda. I don't know the specifics yet, but they're coming. And that shouldn't surprise anybody. So let's kind of hope, cross our fingers, that Microsoft finally has the pricing figured out for the all digital edition. And maybe this was their strategy all along, that they would come out high and then slowly trickle it down. But if you are listening, Microsoft, and I know some of you are, that was a terrible decision, because out of the gate, day one, all of the articles written about the all digital edition was like, this is kind of neat, but it's too expensive. You shouldn't buy it. You should go buy an Xbox One. They have a lot of negative press they now have to overcome to actually kind of get that content percolated up. Because if you go search all digital edition review, what are you going to find? You're going to find a review of the console at the $249 price point, which is not a good deal. I would not tell anybody to buy a $249 version of the all digital edition. I would absolutely tell them to buy the $199 version with 2 controllers and 3 games. That is a good value, and that is what Microsoft needs to leverage going forward for the Xbox One All Digital Edition. I hope that they understand this, and if they don't, I would be very, very concerned. But my spidey senses, if you will tell me, are tingling, because now I think Microsoft has a better understanding of the price points and where this stuff needs to go. So, Xbox One All Digital Edition, was it a flop? Out of the gate, I think you could argue that it was. And if you even looked at some of the reviews, the volume of reviews on Amazon, granted, not the best indicator of success or failure, but it is a benchmark, and it does give you some insight about how well things are or are not selling. You can go look at the reviews and look at the volume of reviews prior to some of these sales, and you'll see that, hey, the volume was not there. And unfortunately for Microsoft, they had to do something. And so that price cut is it. Now, I'm still optimistic that this thing can be salvaged, but I'm hoping that Microsoft figures it out, because I don't think, I think Phil Spencer has already said that the next generation console will include a disk drive. I don't think Microsoft has had a great amount of respect and authoritative push to get rid of that drive to help lower the price point of the next gen console, especially if something like the PlayStation 5 has one. Selling a console without one and that being your only offering, that would be tragic, although that would be a very typical Microsoft thing to do. So what should we be looking for going forward? Look for new bundles of not this device. If I could cover that up there. Of that device, kind of like the Maverick console. I think that is going to be the indicator of whether or not Microsoft got the message about all this stuff. When will they arrive? Typically, these things show up around the October and November timeframe, just in time for moms and dads who are going to go to the store and either put things on layaway or start shopping for their children for the holiday shopping season. That is when these bundles will start showing up. I'll be very curious to see what anyone else thinks. Did anybody actually buy this? I know on the podcast I did last week is that, hey, has anybody actually bought this thing? Because I'd heard that there were rumors that there was going to be a good Prime Day thing. I was trying to understand if people had bought that. Now that the console bundle has kind of came and went, I'm curious if anybody listening to this podcast or this video on YouTube actually went out and bought one. I have not bought an all digital edition yet, mostly because I already have, I just don't need one. But when when the price gets right, I could see myself diving in, especially if they bring Microsoft, if you're listening, that purple Fortnite one. While I don't play a lot of Fortnite, it's a good looking device. Bundle that in with the Phantom White controller, and I think you've got a really cool holiday bundle. We will see what Microsoft has up their sleeve, guys. But there you go. There's a little bit of glimmer, a little bit of insight into what is happening with the Xbox One S All Digital Edition. Hopefully Microsoft learned their lesson. We'll find out soon enough.